What is going on, everybody? Late Monday night, back at you with your host and your man, Sam McIntyre. What a great weekend of football. Oh, crazy. I want to start on here though. Chiefs Falcons. What my take was. I watched most of the game, but I saw clips of it this morning. I wanted to give my take on that. The Niners got some question marks, mainly with their quarterback. I'm a little concerned. I think their window's closing. I'll get to that too. And just some other stuff around the league that I saw. My Raiders I don't know what the hell happened. That was rough. I'll get to that down the road in a couple days. Need some time to sleep on it. I hope you guys are doing well. I appreciate everybody subscribing and hitting that follow button. I greatly appreciate it. We got to keep spreading the word. So I wanted to start with, first off, with that game last night. Great win by the Chiefs, as always. They're kind of becoming New England a little bit, except more likable. I know the Chiefs every time I watch a game, I just know it's going to go their way. It's kind of how New England was for a long time. I can hate them all I want, and I'm a Raider fan, but I got to give respect where respect is due. Patrick Mahomes is awesome. He played well last night enough. But yeah, I thought Mahomes played really well. That defense, and this defense reminds me, man, I got to come to mind, because we've always known the Chiefs going back 2018 when Mahomes first started. Excuse me, they were an offensive juggernaut, right? Their offense to me was a triple A, where it's not that, when you get a tire on the road, but what I mean by that is they're an aerial assault attack offense, where it was bombs away, drop the bomb on me, baby. Okay, I'm going to dance to that. But, get me, but they had an attack-oriented offense when they had Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman and Robinson, all those guys. And then they had to morph it. And I've really loved the transformation that they have, Andy Reid and those guys doing it. And the other thing that I would say is the Chiefs are just really good. And, give credit to Atlanta last night. I'll get to them in a second. But this Chiefs team is really good. And they've done a phenomenal job. And I know Raider fans I've said this before, but that's what you want your organization to be. Top to bottom, you got the stability up top with the owner, and it just trickles down. And I watched last night two organizations, and that kind of know what they're doing. I'm impressed with the Chiefs. Like, I know Mahomes gets every call handed. I get it. They blew the call last night. I watched it this morning. He basically got tackled, but, be that as it may, I'm not going to be old man the lawn guy bitching and moaning all the time. So good for Kansas City. They're going to be representing the AFC again. Although I'll say this, I was kind of watching a little bit of sneak peek. I was going to get on here tomorrow, a little bit of sneak peek of what's to come this week for my videos. But I was going to say Buffalo, Jacksonville. What's going on with that? All I know is it's not looking good for Jacksonville. There might be some changes coming, and we'll get to that later. But Kansas City's still a team to beat until I'm proven. There's obviously some contenders there, I think, with Chargers. But I got to see with Herbert and that situation. And then, Buffalo, they could do some damage. Mahomes is the closest thing to Patrick Mahomes. They've been 1 and 2. You can debate whether each one's great or not. I personally would take Mahomes, but Josh Allen does the same amount of shit that both those guys do. Although Josh obviously adds a better running component than Patrick does. But Patrick could still scramble and make those big plays. Obviously, we saw that in the Super Bowl last year or a couple of years ago against the Eagles. So, I got to tell you, Atlanta last night did a lot of things well. And they played well. Kirk Cousins looked good. It reminded me of Aaron Rodgers Thursday night, where they're coming both off the Achilles injury. They're both similar. Both were in the NFC North. Both battled. Kirk Cousins is crazy. He's got a 500 record against Aaron Rodgers. Who would have thought that? You like that. But I will say this, though, with Atlanta. You got a lot of skilled players. Mooney and Drake London, who's a great player from USC, and Kyle Pitts, who's a stud. And your running backs are really good. Robinson, Algier. That offensive line's pretty good. Hopefully they get those guys back. Last night, I kind of saw a difference in the way that they were game planning in terms of scheme, run game, pass, boots, and all that stuff. That Zach Robinson-led offense from the McVay tree, obviously, what you're seeing with Kyle Shanahan and all these other guys doing that. But the season isn't over for Atlanta. You got a lot of time. That division's kind of winnable right now. I know I said it the other day. I watched yesterday. Maybe Carolina has a pulse. I don't know. The Raiders drove me nuts. I'll get to them later. Got a lot of things I got to uncover, but I'll get to that later on down this week. But I'm sold. I mean, Atlanta still could be good. I mean, they got a lot of good players. Their defense played really well last night. I mean, only give up 22 points last night. That's really good. That's hard to do against the Chiefs because I know, in years past, they get on you fast and it's snowball attack. Night, knockout. It's over. So Atlanta's going to be fine. If you did not get that win against the Eagles last week, 0-3 would be terrible. And I think it would be a huge disappointment, for Arthur Blank, who's getting up there in age. And it was cool last night. They had a Ring of Honor, and it was just really cool. That stadium is awesome to look at. If I had to rank a couple stadiums in the league that are really dope to look at, and I've not been, I'm trying to hit all 32 stadiums. I'm about 8 right now. I've got my list. I still got to go hit them all. But Atlanta's on there. I got to go to Vegas, and I got to go to Minnesota. Even though I'm not a Viking fan, when they do that skull and that place is loud, it's insane. It reminds me of when the Rams were great and they had a great show on turf, how loud and deafening that place got. So the other things I wanted to touch on today, and it's great to have you guys in, was I saw this morning, I got off of work, and I saw Brock Purdy had an injury. Now, it's day-to-day with his back. I'd be really nervous if I'm a Niner fan. Because, listen, I've seen Kyle Shanahan take Nick Mullins and make him look great, okay? And credit to him and his cleverness and all that stuff. However, I don't think this Niner team is hanging on right now for me. And I'm starting to wonder if they hit their window. Because they're getting older. Listen, I love Kittle. I got a cousin that went to Iowa. I had a cousin that went to University of Illinois, Champaign. Shout out to my cousins, Tim and Claire. But they are just so depleted right now. And I got to say this. What the hell is that, Kyle Shanahan? Are you kidding me? You're up 10? I mean, come on. How many times? This guy just is the epitome. It's funny. We always talk about coaching, player malpractice. This guy's coaching malpractice. I mean, what are we doing? Come on. You're up by 10. And credit to the Rams. Matt Stafford and McVay, they're fighting their ass off. And I love it. With a young football team that's banged up, doesn't have Puka Nacua, doesn't have Cooper Kupp. This team's fighting with a banged-up offensive line. So it shows credit to Stafford and give it to McVay. But this Niner team has owned the Rams. Owned them, whether it's been in L.A. or whether it's been in San Francisco. And hell, that's like a Charger game. It's like a Raider-Charger game. Good hell, it's 95% Raiders and 5% Chargers. So I just think for me, I'd be really worried if I'm the Niners. I'd really be worried. I got a lot of question marks on this roster. Christian McCaffrey's out for a long time. You got Debo out. Jennings is a great player, and he's a great third receiver. He's really unique in his body type, in the way that they use him. He's phenomenal. He had a great game yesterday. He had a hat trick. Trace, touchdowns. He looked great. Wish I had him on my fantasy team. So, and the other thing that I wanted to touch on before I get off of here was, I know the Eagles won. And I'm not trying to shit on the parade. My buddy Matt Heitman's an Eagles fan. Good for you, bro. This coach, man. And I saw that clip yesterday of Jalen Carter trolling. I'm not into that. And I was thinking today as I left work today, and I was thinking about what I was going to say on here. I'm out. I just think Sirianni is not the guy to lead this Philadelphia team to the promised land. I'm sorry. I get A.J. Brown's out. And there's a huge difference to me when A.J. Brown's playing and when he's not. You can look at the stats. It's facts. But this team, to me, this is a winnable division now. Whatever happens tonight with the Bengal Redskin Commander game, we'll get to that later. And I'll do my review on that tomorrow night. But this is a winnable division now. Because Dallas is free-falling. And God, I love it. Woo! Oh, row that boat gently down the stream. Down the loser stream. Woo! I love it. Love it when the Dallas Cowboys was like Stephen A. Smith. Love it. But this division's winnable. Giants, listen, they're coming in their own. I mean, Malik Neighbors, I got to say this. LSU, you can bitch all you want about Brian Kelly. There's one thing I know. This guy recruits. He knows what he's doing. And any coach that goes down to LSU, you're going to win games, okay? You got receivers galore. You know, I heard this today. Malik Neighbors isn't even bona fide. He doesn't even need development. He's that good. And then next year, they got this Lacey kid, when we saw against Wisconsin in the Capital Bowl. He looks like a stud. So they just keep churning and burning receivers. Good for LSU. That was just a side note. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great time for football. So I'm going to hop off of here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. And I'll get back to with more content this week. Subscribe, hit the follow button, share to your friends, and hope to hear from you guys soon.